February 13th, 2017. Two teenage girls walk into the woods. One of them pulls out her phone, not to call for help, not to text her mom. She points the camera at the man following them, captures his face, his walk, his voice, and hides the phone in her pocket. The next day, both girls are found dead. But here's what makes this case unlike anything you've ever heard. The killer was caught on camera, his voice was recorded, his face was seen by witnesses, and for 5 years, nobody could find him, because he was hiding in plain sight the entire time. This is Delphi, Indiana, and this is the story of Abby and Libby. Delphi, Indiana, population 3,000. The kind of town where everyone knows everyone. Kids ride bikes without helmets, doors stay unlocked, and nobody thinks twice about letting their kids walk the trails. February 13th, 2017 was a Monday. 14-year-old Libby German and her best friend, 13-year-old Abby Williams, decided to do what small-town kids do on a free afternoon. They went for a hike. At 1:30 p.m., Libby's older sister Kelsey dropped them off at the trail entrance near the Monon High Bridge, an old abandoned railroad bridge over Deer Creek. They hugged. Kelsey said, "I love you." Libby said the same back. That was the last time Kelsey ever spoke to her sister. The two girls walked down the trail, laughing, taking photos. At around 2 p.m., Libby posted a photo of Abby walking across the bridge to her Snapchat. The old wooden planks, no guardrails, cold Indiana sky. It was the last post either of them ever made. By 5 p.m., nobody could reach them. By evening, they hadn't shown up to their pickup spot. That's when the calls started. That's when the fear set in. Police organized a search that night. Dogs, flashlights, volunteers. Nothing. They called it off at midnight. The next morning, Valentine's Day, the search resumed. Hundreds of volunteers from across the county showed up before sunrise. At noon, about half a mile from the bridge, along the banks of Deer Creek, a searcher found them. Both girls, gone. Now here is where I need you to pay close attention, because what happened in those woods between the moment Libby hit record and the moment that searcher found them tells you everything about who this person was. After Libby captured him on the bridge, investigators believe he herded them. That word, herded, is the word police actually used in their briefings, like he had a plan, like he knew exactly how to move two people through the woods and take away every option they had. He walked them down the hill, which is exactly what that command meant. Down the hill, away from the trail, away from any road, deeper into the trees, toward Deer Creek. The last confirmed location of the girls was the bridge at around 2:13 p.m. Their bodies were found the next day, roughly half a mile away through dense forest. That is not a short distance. That is not a panic situation. That man walked them through those woods in broad daylight with complete control. Evidence at the scene told investigators that Libby fought back. She did not go quietly. The physical evidence made that absolutely clear. Both girls were gone before the sun went down that day. But here is the detail that disturbed every investigator who saw that crime scene. Abby was found wearing Libby's clothes. Not similar clothes, Libby's actual clothes. They had been switched, and Libby's original clothes were found downstream in the river, deliberately placed there. The bodies had been moved after death and arranged, partially covered with sticks and branches. The positioning wasn't random. Investigators who were inside that crime scene described it as intentional, staged, like whoever did this was following some kind of logic that only made sense to them. This was not a crime of rage. This was not random. This was controlled, calculated. And after it was done, the man responsible walked back out of those woods, got in his car, drove back into town, and went home. The small town of Delphi fell completely silent. But here's where the case becomes something else entirely. A week later, police made an announcement that stopped the entire country cold. Libby German had recorded him. Before she was killed, Libby had her phone out on the bridge. She captured 43 seconds of video. In it, you can see a man, baseball cap pulled low, dark jacket, jeans, hands in pockets, walking slowly behind them across the bridge. She knew something was wrong, so she kept recording. And then she hid the phone. The audio captured on that phone, police released one clip to the public. A man's low, flat voice. 2 words, "Down the hill." Not a question, a command. That audio was played on every news channel in America. Tips flooded in by the thousands, but none of them led anywhere. Then, in 2019, police held another press conference. They released a new suspect sketch showing a younger-looking man than people expected, and they released more audio, this time just one word, "Guys." And then investigators said something that sent chills through everyone watching. "We believe the suspect is hiding in plain sight. He likely lives in or near Delphi. He may work here. He walks among you." 5 years passed. The case went cold. The families begged for answers. The community fundraised. The reward climbed to $325,000. Nobody came forward. Until one day, somebody did. October 26, 2022, 5 years, 8 months, and 13 days after the murders. Police arrested a 50-year-old man named Richard Matthew Allen. He wasn't a drifter. He wasn't some mystery figure from out of town. He was the pharmacist at the local CVS in Delphi, a man people had seen hundreds of times. Someone who filled their prescriptions, who said good morning in the parking lot, who had a wife and a daughter and a completely ordinary life in that same small town. He had been in Delphi the entire time. And here is the part that will genuinely stop you cold. 3 days after the murders in 2017, Richard Allen walked into a police station. He told them he was on the trail that day. He said he saw the girls on the bridge. He denied any contact with them. Police noted his name, took his statement, and let him walk out. His name sat in a file for 5 years. A tipster had even flagged him early in the investigation, but as the Carroll County Sheriff later admitted himself, Allen got lost in the cracks. The man responsible had essentially handed police his location 3 days after the crime and walked free for half a decade. The trial of Richard Allen began in October 2024, and it brought details the public had never heard before. The key physical evidence, an unspent .40 caliber bullet found at the scene. Forensic examiners matched it through specific markings on the casing to a gun registered to Allen found inside his home. Then came the moment that defined the entire trial. While Allen was in jail awaiting trial, he called his wife. During that call, he allegedly confessed, told her directly that he did it. That recording was played in court. Allen was found guilty, sentenced to 130 years. But here is what the trial never resolved, what no court document ever explained, what no testimony made clear. Why? Why those 2 girls? Why that specific day? Why the staging? Why the clothing? Why walk them half a mile into the woods when the trail was already empty and isolated? The motive was never established, not once, not in opening statements, not in closing arguments, not in any testimony heard by that jury. And during the trial, the defense raised something that still sits unresolved. A symbol found near the crime scene, one they argued carried specific ideological significance. The court ultimately limited how much of that argument the jury was allowed to hear. The judge sealed portions of the related documents. Whether that detail is meaningful or simply a defense strategy, nobody outside that courtroom can say for certain. Those documents remain sealed today. Richard Allen is in prison, 130 years. But the why, the part that would actually close this case in the minds of everyone who followed it, that answer doesn't exist in any public record anywhere. And I've been sitting with that for weeks. So here's what I want from you. Not likes, not subscribers, just this. Drop one question in the comments, the one thing that bothers you the most about this case, the detail you can't explain, the part that doesn't sit right. Because I've been going through every publicly available document, every court transcript, every press conference on this case, and the questions this community asks are genuinely sharper than anything in the mainstream coverage. If enough of the right questions come in, I'll go deeper. I'll pull the court records. I'll map the timeline. I'll bring it back. Abby Williams wanted to be a nurse. Libby German wanted to be a photographer. They were 13 and 14 years old. Libby German was brave enough to turn that camera on a stranger in the middle of nowhere, alone, knowing something was very wrong. She was 14 years old.
Because of what she did, a killer is behind bars. Whatever questions you have about this case, they deserve answers. Don't forget their names.